Do you know anyone who is very lazy? Are you ever lazy about doing your chores or homework? Sometimes we can get into the habit of being lazy, and then it's difficult when we have to get back into our routine and do some work. Hello everyone, I'm Kathleen Pelly. Welcome to Journey with Story. Today's story is an old English fairy tale about a very lazy boy called Jack, who gets into all kinds of silly shenanigans when he finally has to set out into the world and do some work. Remember, if you want, you can actually grab some crayons and a piece of paper right now, and as you listen to the story, you can draw what you see in your imagination. I'd love to see your creations on our Instagram page at kathleenpelly.com. Be sure to use the hashtag JourneyWithStory so I can find it easily. Let's take a journey with Lazy Jack. Once upon a time, there was a boy whose name was Jack, and he lived with his mother on a common. They were very poor, and the old woman got her living by spinning. But Jack was so lazy that he would do nothing but bask in the sun in the hot weather and sit by the corner of the hearth in the winter time. So everyone called him Lazy Jack. His mother could not get him to do anything for her, and at last she told him one Monday that if he did not begin to work for his porridge, she would turn him out to get as living as he could. Well, this roused Jack, and he went out and hired himself for the next day to a neighbouring farmer for a penny. But as he was coming home, never having had any money before, he lost it as he passed over a brook. "Oh, you stupid boy," said his mother. "You should have put it in your pocket." "I'll do so another time," replied Jack. On Wednesday, Jack went out again and hired himself to a cow-keeper who gave him a jar of milk for his day's work. Jack took the jar and put it into the large pocket of his jacket, spilling it all long before he got home. "Oh, dear me," said the old woman. "You should have carried it on your head." "I'll do so another time," said Jack. So on Thursday, Jack hired himself again to a farmer who agreed to give him a cream cheese for his services. In the evening, Jack took the cheese and went home with it on his head. By the time he got home, the cheese was all spoilt, part of it being lost and part matted inside his hair. "Oh, you stupid lout," said his mother. "You should have carried it very carefully in your hands." "I'll do so another time," replied Jack. On Friday, Lazy Jack again went out, and he hired himself to a baker who would give him nothing for his work but a large tomcat. Jack took the cat and began carrying it very carefully in his hands. But in a short time the cat scratched him so much that he was forced to let it go. And when he got home, his mother said to him, "Oh, you silly, silly fellow, you should have tied it with a string and dragged it along after you." "I'll do so another time," said Jack. So on Saturday, Jack hired himself to a butcher who rewarded him by the handsome present of a shoulder of mutton. Jack took the mutton, tied it to a string, and trailed it along after him in the dirt, so that by the time he had got home, the meat was completely spoilt. His mother was this time quite out of patience with him, for the next day was Sunday, and she was obliged to make do with cabbage for her dinner. "Oh, you ninny hammer," said she to her son, "you should have carried it on your shoulder." "I'll do so another time," replied Jack. On the next Monday, Lazy Jack went out once more, and he hired himself to a cattle keeper who gave him a donkey for his trouble. Jack found it hard to hoist the donkey on his shoulders, but at last he did it, and he began walking slowly home with his prize. Now, it happened that in the course of his journey there lived a rich man with his only daughter, a beautiful girl, but deaf and dumb. Now, she had never laughed in her entire life, and the doctors said that she would never speak until somebody made her laugh. Well, this young lady happened to be looking out of the window when Jack was passing by with the donkey on his shoulders, with the legs sticking up in the air, and the sight was so comical and strange that she burst out into a great fit of laughter and immediately recovered her speech and her hearing. Her father was overjoyed and fulfilled his promise by marrying her to lazy Jack, who was thus made a very rich gentleman. They lived in a large house with Jack's mother in great happiness ever after. Well, that Jack was not just a lazy fellow, he sure was silly, wasn't he? Did you have a favourite funny part of the story? Maybe you can share it with your mum or dad. Oh, and mums and dads out there and teachers, remember we are now offering ways to bring my stories to life in your home by partnering with the educational organisation If Not You, Who. They will be offering our listeners some hands-on activities around some of my stories that you can do together with your child. Check out KathleenPally.com for more information. Cheerio then. Join me next time for Journey with Story.